Good morning, students. Today we are going to introduce novel Animal Farm, Chapter 3. First, I'm going to give you a summary of this chapter. The harvest was a bigger success than they had hoped. The animals worked hard, but sometimes the work was hard because the implements had been designed for human beings. The pigs didn't actually work, but directed and supervised the others. The animals were happy because it was their own food, produced by themselves and for themselves. Boxer was the admiration of everybody. He had been a hard worker even in John's time, but now he seemed more like 3 horses than one. There were days when the entire work of the farm seemed to rest upon his mighty shoulders. But everyone worked according to his capacity. Nobody stole, nobody grumbled over his rations. The quarreling and biting and jealousy which had been normal features of life in the old days had almost disappeared. On Sundays there was no work. Breakfast was an hour later than usual, and after breakfast there was a ceremony which was observed every week without fail. First came the hoisting of the flag. Snowball had found in the harness room an old green tablecloth of Mr. Jones, and had painted on it a hoof and a horn in white. The flag was green, Snowball explained, to represent the green fields of England, while the hoof and the horn signified the future republic of the animals. After the hoisting of the flag, the animals assembled in the barn as a meeting to plan for the work of the coming week. It was noticed that Snowball and Napoleon were never in agreement. Whatever suggestion either of them made, the other could be counted on to oppose it. The pigs had set aside the harness room as a headquarters for themselves. Here in the evenings they studied blacksmithing, carpentering, and other necessary arts from books which they had brought out of the farmhouse. Snowball also organized the other animals into what he called animal committees. For example, the egg production committee for the hens and the Clean Tails League for the cows, besides instituting classes in reading and writing. The reading and writing classes were a great success. By the autumn, almost every animal on the farm was literate in some degree. It was also found that the stupider animals, such as the sheep, hens, and ducks, were unable to learn the 7 commandments by heart. So Snowball declared that the 7 commandments could be reduced to a single maxim, namely 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. The birds objected because they had 2 legs, but Snowball told them that a bird's wing is an organ of propulsion and not of manipulation. It should therefore be regarded as a leg. The birds didn't understand Snowball's long words, but they accepted his explanation. 4 legs good, 2 legs bad was inscribed on the end wall of the barn above the 7 commandments and in bigger letters. It happened that Jessie and Bluebell had both whelped soon after the hay harvest, giving birth to 9 puppies. As soon as they were weaned, Napoleon took them, saying that he would be responsible for them. The mystery of where the milk went to was soon cleared up. It was mixed every day into the pig's mash. Squealer told the animals that milk and apples contain substances absolutely necessary to the well-being of a pig, so they have to eat them to be able to think well, or Mr. Jones would come back. So it was agreed without further arguments that the milk and the apples should be reserved for the pigs alone. Now let's move to your booklet. The new characters here in this chapter are the sheep. They are an intelligent animals who follow the leader. Summary of this chapter in your booklet. The days after the rebellion are good for the animals. All of the animals work hard to bring in the harvest, except the pigs, who direct and supervise. The harvest is a bigger success than Jones and his men had ever had. The animals are happy and the food they eat is their own. Boxer is the hardest worker. His answer to any problem is "I will work harder," which he adopts as his personal motto. The others work according to their abilities, with a few exceptions. Molly gets up late and leaves early, and the cat has a way of disappearing. Benjamin is the only animal who seems unchanged, slow and obstinate, never shirking and never volunteering. He is fond of saying donkeys live a long time. None of you have ever seen a dead donkey. There is no work on Sunday, and at the weekly meetings, the animals salute their new flag and debate the resolutions put forth by the pigs Napoleon and Snowball, who are never in agreement on any of the issues. The pigs who have taught themselves to read set aside the harness room as a headquarters to study blacksmithing, carpentry, and other skills necessary to operate the farm. Snowball organizes committees to increase production and teach the others to read. Napoleon concerns himself with the education of the young, taking 9 puppies from their mothers, Jessie and Bluebell, and hiding them away in the loft. The animals learn to read according to their limited abilities. The sheep learn a single maxim, which embodies the essential principles of animalism: 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. Once they learn it, they say it for hours. The animals solve the mystery of the milk. It is mixed every day into the pig's mash. The milk and the wonderful apples are reserved exclusively for the pigs. Squealer explains the necessity for this. Because the pigs are brain workers, the whole management and organization of the farm depends on them. Squealer says that it has been scientifically proven that milk and the apples are essential to the well-being of a pig. Even though some pigs don't even like milk and apples, Squealer says they eat them for the safety and the benefit of the other animals. He ends his argument with the threat that if the pigs fail in their duties, Jones will return. Surely, comrades, surely there is no one among you who wants to see Jones come back. The milk and the apples are the only issue that Napoleon and Snowball agree upon, so it is settled without further protest that the apples and the milk be put aside for the pigs. Now let's move to these questions. As the summer passes, the animals are happier than they could be. What causes this feeling? The harvest was a bigger success than they had hoped. What is Snowball's attitude towards education? To what extent are the animals educated? He made classes for reading and writing, and by the autumn, almost every animal on the farm was literate in some degree. Why did Napoleon and Snowball argue about almost every issue that arose? What is the only thing they agreed on? Because everyone wanted to be the leader. The only thing that they agreed on was that the milk and the apples should be reserved for the pigs only. What is Squealer's explanation of why pigs must be given special food? How do the other animals react? He said that milk and apples contain substances necessary to the well-being of a pig. The animals agreed because they didn't want Mr. Jones to come back. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow, inshallah. Goodbye.